it isn't just getting likes and posting content. You have to engage with people. You have to, it's like going to a party. You don't want to like stand there and like, drink your drink and just watch people talk. You want to engage in the talking, and we feel better after we talk to other humans. And, texting's great, but when you can talk to people, it's pretty cool. So I've always, and you can find out the most amazing things in comment sections. So that's the other thing that can get me going down a rabbit hole. But
Kathi, you wrote an amazing article where you discussed Pablo Picasso and you compared social selling to art. What is social selling?
Social selling is using social media to generate your own leads. And there's a process to it. It's building your network and looking like the likable expert and sharing entertaining content and reminding people of what you do so that they know. It doesn't have to be all that. There's some that do succeed doing just automotive related things, like things on the lot or, talking to customers or whatever it may be. But it doesn't have to always be all that. But it's just reminding people what you do so that when they are in the market for a car or they have a question, you can answer their question and help them. And they do remember you. And there's some people doing it really, really well right now.
I'm glad that you explained it like that, because there's a part in the article where you say social selling is not just posting content and waiting for likes. I think we live in a very interesting space and time right now with social media and just with digital in general. And I think that even myself, we've all fallen sort of victim to the idea that how much engagement you're getting in terms of likes on social media is what matters. And it's actually, books have been written about this, professors speak about this, warnings go out to parents about this. So how would you answer the question, or how would you position it? What is the difference between sort of vanity metrics when it comes to social media and social selling, or how do you distinguish and separate the two in your mind?
I'm a very practical person, and I come from automotive retail, and most of my time was as a CFO, but I've also been a dealer. So I'm into the ROI of everything. And if you're going to spend your time doing something, it should matter. And if there's a goal for vanity metrics, great. But the goal usually is ego-based. Getting a bunch of likes and stuff is and how many people watched your video or whatever it may be. That's a good metric. Those are all good metrics, but they're not the only metrics. To me, the ultimate metric would be to generate a lead or get an appointment, right? And so what am I doing every day that I'm spending time on? What am I getting the return on the investment? What am I getting investing my time? What am I getting back? And yeah, the reason I wrote that about it isn't just getting likes and posting content. You have to engage with people. You have to, it's like going to a party. You don't want to like stand there and like, drink your drink and just watch people talk. You want to engage in the talking, and we feel better after we talk to other humans. And, texting's great, but when you can talk to people, it's pretty cool. So I've always, and you can find out the most amazing things in comment sections. So that's the other thing that can get me going down a rabbit hole. But if you're selling cars or selling service for that matter, and want to look as it like an expert, then you want to engage with people if they're commenting on your content. And those that I can tell you, marketing's all about standing out, differentiating yourself. And if you are out there talking to people in your comment section, you are going to stand out because there's so many people that don't. That's all I can say.
That is very something else that stood out for me in your article was you kept referencing Picasso. I do not want to go head to head with you from an art history perspective, because I did do art history myself. I did it for 1 year though, not 3. And I'm trying to protect myself in case it goes that way, because I definitely don't know as much as you do. But what I loved about it is probably the key takeaway, other than the fact that you're clearly a Picasso fan. I don't know so much about Cubism. I really, really like surrealism, but again, maybe a discussion for another day. But what I really liked is you spoke about his legacy and how it spans painting and sculpture and ceramics and printmaking, and how he experimented. And so I think it's a really, really good analogy, because my takeaway from this is that it shouldn't be static, that it should be experimentation, that you should be learning about your audience, that you should be adapting and trying new things. So what is it about Picasso particularly that you love so much? And what can you share in terms of how you position this article?
Well, I think that in order to be good at social selling, it's the same deal. Like, yes, consistency is important, but consistency doesn't mean that you have to stay with the same platform or the same type of medium. Like if you're doing video, or if you're doing images, or you're writing, or whatever you're doing, try something different and see, like, go live if you want, if you feel like. Some people, when because I sometimes will do training on social selling, there's some people that don't mind going live. They like being on camera. A lot of people don't. A lot of people like, oh no, I'm behind the scenes. I just want to do, and that's totally cool too. I have trained myself to be on camera. I'm not one that wants to be on camera necessarily, but I've trained myself to do that. And so using different, just be open. I think what Picasso, he was very open. I don't think he would admit that he was necessarily open, but the result looks like he was very open to doing different things, or having inspiration from something and then trying it out and seeing if it works. And
I think there's a perception out there that you have to be an extrovert, or you have to be a salesperson, or you have to be a marketing person to be producing content. And it's really not the case. I don't know if everyone knows, but you are a CFO. You provide CFO services. And I think in most people's minds, a CFO type personality is quite the opposite of sales and marketing. Now, I know that you're layered because we have conversations, and I know that there's a lot more to you than being a CFO. But may that be the inspiration to perhaps somebody else who is in a finance position, who maybe thinks that it's not important that you are heard. I promise you there are other people out there that are waiting to hear from you. And I would really recommend that you take the leap. I think that's one of the biggest things. Is I've definitely been inspired to publish content, to put content out there, because I've seen other people doing it. And it's like, well, if they can do it and they feel comfortable, I should do it too. And I absolutely think that this is the type of article, and that's why I like your stories, because this is also what you bring to the table. Is you're not the stereotypical influencer style person that wants to scream from the rooftops. That's actually quite the opposite of what you are.
No, I'm actually an introvert, and I had to force myself, because I got out of automotive retail and I'm like, what am I going to do? And I learned how to speak publicly, and I learned how to hone my writing skills, and I learned how to develop websites and all the things that we did. But I had to train myself to just, so you can do it. If you're an introvert, you can do it. And most CFO types are definitely introverts. So again, I just go back to the ROI. Like, just Kruse Kontrol got started because I had ROI in mind, and I started, what's going to get me to where I need to go? What's going to get me leads? What's going to get me noticed? What's going to help me network? I like networking. I think that's a lost art. I think that if you're a lot of car salespeople, I'm friends with the #1 BMW salesperson in the nation. She's amazing, and she's got a massive network, and she's been social selling her entire life, but she hardly even uses social media. She just does it old school, on the phone, email, but she never takes an up. She sells 150 to 200 cars a month herself. So, but learn more about yourself, what you can do, what you feel comfortable doing, and then build off of that. And I just said this earlier today to someone, that face the fear and do it anyway. That's what I had to do. Like, I had to earn a living. So I'm like, okay, I got to face the fear and do it anyway. And it does work. It can work out.
Also, right now, given the state of flux of branding and marketing, everything is changing. And I know every generation has said that, but I challenge anybody, like, but show me the last time AI was in the arena. It's never been in the arena. There's so much else going on. It's not just AI. That's just such an easy thing to throw in. So I'll throw it in. But things are really changing. LinkedIn and the sort of rise, and some people will say the fall already of the personal brand, which I disagree with. I think that there's still so much more to give. And I think there's so many use cases where it's really obvious that it really, really matters. But about 10 years ago, I mean, I was an early adopter of LinkedIn because I was in recruitment. I had to be. And there was just nothing like that happening. So you've really seen, I think during COVID, a lot of people were forced to break away and to sort of make it on their own. And it's amazing what human beings achieve when they've got nothing else left, and they've just got to make it work.
Absolutely.
So I would encourage anybody, absolutely anybody, to like rethink this. I think social selling is something that we're using, something that I'm using, something that I enjoy. Like, I'm an extrovert. And so at the end of my calls and my interviews, like, I really feel invigorated to the point where I can't sleep. This is the issue that I have. But it's absolutely such a good part for me of the process. And if I had to sit behind a computer screen all the time, it would be very depressing for me. So at least I'm talking to a computer screen most of the time. And that is in a very big way social selling, and the way that I'm even running my business. It's the way that you're running your business. It's the way that so many people on the lot floor can be running theirs as well.
You said about personal branding, it got kind of to be a buzzword, but it's never going away. You are always going to represent yourself. And I have things that like attributes about myself that I make sure that people understand when we interact. And with clients, I want them to know I have integrity. It bothers me when they come to the table without a lot of faith and trust. I want people to trust me because I am trustworthy and I do good work. And so there's certain attributes about me and my brand that every salesperson, car salesperson, and or anyone else at the dealership, there's certain things about you that are only you, and only you can be that. And you are different. You're not the same as everybody else. And when you can kind of figure out what those are and then utilize them to communicate that through social or any other interaction with customers, customers in service drive, or, out on the lot or showroom floor or whatever it may be. If they know you have integrity, for instance, if they know you have empathy, these are things that attract people to you. So they're, while the buzzword may be, coming and going, it's always going to be important to know what makes you, what makes you stand out.